All right, let's talk about Xavier Worthy, who I thought would be an interesting person to make a film study on. I didn't make one during the draft. I didn't have one ready to go there. But, now that the draft has settled, it was a pick that got a lot of attention when it was made. A lot of people talking about, is he the next Tyreek Hill for the Kansas City Chiefs? Well, you can certainly see what the Chiefs see in him, right? We know they love their speedy receivers, and the play you see on the screen is exactly what he can bring to the table. Watch as when this play begins, you're going to see him really just not even do a move, just run straight by the Houston defensive back who is covering him. The speed that he has is otherworldly. He, of course, set the record with a 4.21 40-yard dash, so he has this explosive speed, and that's certainly reason enough to like him, because you could do stuff like this, where you see he gets the separation. This is also a really well-thrown ball, and for the Kansas City Chiefs, weirdly enough, they didn't have a great deep game last year. That was actually something they really struggled with, so getting a guy who could potentially win these types of go routes is very exciting if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Now, of course, there's a lot more to football than just having speed, but the speed's set up so much at the college level. Like, something like this is another example where it's, just look at how far off that defensive back is playing right here. He is very far off, which, again, look at the other side of the field. The defensive back on that side, nowhere near as far off of the receiver. This is the threat of Worthy's speed. Because of this, when this play begins, you're going to see that, when Worthy cuts, look at how open he is. This is essentially just giving a free first down because you're so afraid of getting burned down the field. You'd rather give up a free first down than a free 50-yard bomb, although maybe it would have been better off to, play a little bit closer, perhaps. But it's just, it goes to show how much teams respected his speed. You're also going to see him make the catch and, do some nice stuff after it. Doesn't get a ton more yards, but it's tough to bring down. Now, I think, some people might be a little worried in the sense of we've seen really fast receivers not work at the NFL level, even really fast, hyped up prospects. John Ross comes to mind, who was, could he be this, elite level deep threat guy? Well, it turns out after the speed, there wasn't a lot else there. I don't think Worthy is just a pure speed guy. That's all he has. I do think that is his best attribute, but there is other stuff to his game. Like a play like this, for example, where it's going to be a wide receiver screen. So you have multiple players go out the block towards the edge, and then you have Worthy, who's going to be, he's going to be the one who's catching the ball here. Obviously, we're not showing his blocking here. We're showing what he does in the receiving game. You see that when this play begins, quarterback quickly gets the ball to Worthy, who right here, there is a Rice defender who's in position to make a play, but for Worthy, again, if he was just a speed guy, you'd kind of expect him to just get tackled right here. But watch what he does. As you see, watch him be able to sidestep that defender and picks up more yards. Being able to do that and to have the footwork and the athleticism is going to be what makes or doesn't make him work at the NFL level. How consistently can he do stuff like this? Because at the end of the day, as great as his speed is, the NFL has fast corners. They might not have guys who run 4.2s, but still, NFL teams have guys who run 4.3 and can almost keep up with him. And then as long as they, are able to just kind of have some technique going, all right, they'll be okay. There's really good athletes at the NFL level. You're going to have more than just speed. Again, the speed will always make him a valuable piece to some degree, but for him to be a great receiver or a number one receiver, he is going to need more to his game. Well, how is the rest of his game? As I said, shiftiness is all right. I do think he needs to be a little bit more refined in certain areas. For example, something like this, where it's going to be a zone coverage play. You have Worthy running, a route over the middle against zone coverage. So let's see how well he cuts here. That's what I want you to really pay attention to, is the movement. As you see, he's going to do an okay job. There was a window enough for the quarterback to try and make the throw. Not good enough to actually get the completion, though. I wouldn't say that was a terrible cut or anything, and I'll show it a couple times just so you can see it. But, it certainly wasn't again, I've heard Tyreek Hill comparisons. There's, a lot of things Tyreek Hill does really well, including, cutting. Worthy is not that. Now, maybe he could get there someday. Maybe there's, technique things you could do to fix that stuff. I don't know. But just saying, expecting him to come in and be Tyreek Hill would be unfair. So that is one area of his game I would say is maybe not a massive weakness, but not really a strength either. Kind of just something he's fine at. Going over here, this is probably what I saw to be his biggest weakness is he is not a contested catch guy. You see right here, it's simply a, curl route on a one-on-one matchup. Okay, simple enough. Let's see what happens. Well, we're going to see that when this play begins, you look over and, right here, there's a window. There's for sure a window for this throw to be made, but it's not a huge window. So it's going to be kind of a tough, the defensive back is there. Can the defensive back make the play? That kind of stuff. Well, you see, Worthy gets his hands on it, but isn't able to hold on and ends up getting knocked out. That is something that we saw with Worthy, is he did struggle to get the completion sometimes, and he did struggle to, when there was, catches in traffic, not always make the play. Again, if you're a Chiefs fan, you're saying, well, who cares? He's going to run by everybody, so there won't be catches in traffic too often. Well, there's going to be times when that happens. Again, to make the Tyreek Hill comparison, which it's unfair to compare him to Tyreek Hill. That's not fair to him. But Tyreek Hill is actually pretty good at this stuff. He'll have, he's not like, Calvin Johnson at it, but he can make those types of plays. And I think at the NFL level, there's going to be times when you don't have separation. In fact, the separation you can get at the NFL level is just way less than what you can get at the college level. So this is something he'll probably have to work on, and it is something you can improve upon, right? You can, just lift some more weights, and then you can just kind of practice this stuff more, get more used to it. Again, he didn't have these situations happen a lot in college, so it kind of makes sense that he wasn't the best at it, but it is an area he'll need to improve. Also, if we look at his Pro Football Focus page, you see that, and again, PFF grades do not translate super well to the next level. There's plenty of good wide receivers who do not have great PFF grades at the college level. It's different when it comes to offensive linemen and stuff like that. But for receiver, I wouldn't be turned off too much by a guy who doesn't have particularly great grades or things like this. But you do see the overall, I've always compared PFF grades to kind of a batting average, right? It doesn't really give you too much extra credit if you hit a home run. It's more so how consistently do you win, and according to PFF graders, and I would also say this was backed up when I did my evaluation, not winning a ton. You also see, the drop rate not ideal, and the contested catch rate pretty tough at 23.8. Did have, I think his best quality was the yards per route ran, but again, he was very much a home run hitter. He was a guy who, to make the baseball analogy, hit 200 but with 40 bombs, right? Is very much someone who you're hoping can maybe you get the average up and then you can still get the home runs. The obvious concern is that if you get, if teams just kind of say, okay, that's the fast guy, let's just make sure we have a safety over the top, what else can he bring to the game? And is he someone who can be a significant contributor? But even if that's his floor, there's still a lot of value in the guy you have to just make sure you pay attention to on defense. So even his floor is going to be an effective player. And I think another good thing if you're a Chiefs fan is I don't think Andy Reid is drafting him to be a savior of this receiving core. I don't think this receiving core needs a savior. They need a couple more players who can play, and so adding someone like him is kind of all they're really going for here. I think that, for me personally, they've already added, a good receiver in free agency and Marquise Brown. They have Travis Kelce. I think they're looking for Worthy to be a role player. Again, who knows what we'll get out of Rashee Rice now that he has his, sort of issues. But one thing I've heard as well is people have said, well, it's Mahomes, it's Andy Reid, they'll figure it out. They don't have the best hit rate, so this is now the fourth receiver they've selected in the top 2 rounds. They had McCall Hardman, who, caught a game, had that great Super Bowl, so I'm sure Chiefs fans like him a lot. But I think we would also agree hasn't really been a more than a role player for them. Sky Moore has so far been a miss. Rashee Rice looked legitimately really good last year. Again, he kind of has off the field issues now. But so I wouldn't say that they've been, I'm not just going to say because it's the Chiefs, I'm sure it will work out. I think there is reason to believe in him as a prospect, although I do think sometimes, the hype has maybe gotten a little bit too far, and people, every time a team this happened with the Patriots for forever, where the Patriots were a team that was, winning Super Bowls every year, and then it felt like you couldn't say anything like, even like neutral about a decision. Every decision they made was, oh my God, they've done it again. What a brilliant decision. I feel like the Chiefs are kind of in that vein a little bit, where I remember when I was talking about the Juwan Taylor signing, I was like, I don't like that. And then people were like, what do you mean? It's a great move. I don't know if I would say that was the case, but, whatever. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But the Worthy one, while I'm maybe a little bit lower on than some other people are, I still think there's a real potential for him to be a valuable piece and potentially even a great piece if they can coach him up. But I do see him as a bit more of a projection than other people see him as. But still, I think a good pick by the Chiefs. I would still say this was the right decision to make a move like this. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on Worthy. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.